Welcome back to the Social Impact Level Up podcast. This is where we blur the lines between business, nonprofit, and impact. I'm your host, Wendie V, and I'm a social impact strategist here to help you build a successful and sustainable legacy of social change. In this week's episode, we're going to hear from a social entrepreneur who has been on a journey to change the world just like you. If you are interested in social entrepreneurship, this is the place for you. Let's jump right into this week's episode. Happy Memorial Day. This is an episode that we originally aired live on Veterans Day last November. Of course, it took us a minute to get it out, but we're very happy to be here showing you the wonderful news that Dorothy O'Dell is sharing about live streaming and how live streaming can help you with your mission to raise funds for a social impact organization. I hope you enjoy this episode and thank you for being here. This is the Social Impact Level Up Live. We're bringing you this podcast on Veterans Day to talk about one of the things that we can do to support organizations like those that serve veterans. One of the things we can do is live stream, and we are live streaming. See, this is like demonstrating our purpose here.
Exactly.
So meta right now. It is great. So I have a guest, Dorothy O'Dell, who I will introduce to you as someone in my network that I met through LinkedIn, comes to us all the way from Canada. And she has a very particular skill, live streaming, for a really long time. And it's not something that I yet have developed, but I aspire to learn from her. And so I invited her on the podcast and on our live to talk to us a little bit more about this vehicle that we're actually exploring right now. And since it's Veterans Day, we'll tie it to a group that she's really passionate about serving, veterans, and how different organizations can use this medium of live streaming to raise funds to serve populations like veterans. So, Dorothy, I want to kick it over to you to just tell us a little more about yourself and your journey and how you make an impact.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Wendie. Yes, and I just want to salute out to our veterans today. Thank you for your service. And I love streaming. It's funny because I never thought I would ever be the type of person to get in front of anybody, to interview anybody. That was not what my jam was. For 25 years, I've been in finance. However, I am like really wanting to impact people and help people. I doing book work is like monotonous and I can do it in my sleep. And now it's time to impact lives. So, funny thing is I had wrote this book, and as I was trying to promote myself, I'm like, nobody knows anybody from Windsor, Ontario. Nobody knows. So what better way to get out there than to use social media, right? And I saw this post for a live streaming course, and I had all the people that were big names on LinkedIn or whom I perceived as big names. They were like, oh yeah, you got to take this course. You got to take this course. So I signed up for it, and it was with Tim Sohn, I can't even say his last name. Tim Sohn Solutions. There we go. So
I haven't seen it yet, but it sounds awesome.
Yes, sorry. I don't know why I can't talk. Anyways, so I thought, well, okay, why not? Right. And by the way, Tim's going to be doing a course very soon on that. So watch out for more. Follow Tim. Anyways, so I took this course and he says, okay, you have to have your first, you have to do a show. You have to create a show and your first episode has to be within the 6 weeks of this course. I'm like, you're crazy. I was going absolutely bonkers because I'm like, how do you even do this? I like, remember, I'm in bookkeeping. How do you go from bookkeeping to this? So he's really amazing. And in this course, we've developed a friendship, and he's in Pennsylvania. I'm here in Canada with my family. He's over there with his family. And so he had the advanced course. So I took that too. And it just kept on growing. So I thought, as I was getting interviews for my book and sharing that, I was learning about other people. And I thought, man, these people have amazing stories. And I know what it's like in my journey in life to know what it's like to be alone and to feel that when you're going through something, it is absolutely like you're on an island somewhere. And so the one thing we had in common was, though, that we all have a story and we all need to be able to share our story, right? And I think every story is powerful. We could have similar stories, but honestly, the way how I tell it is different than the way you would tell it. And we all have different people connected to our lives, is how another coach explained it to me. So open your mouth and share your story. So I thought, okay. So I started Unstoppable Overcomers, which is my Monday night show that I do, just featuring pretty much anybody and everybody that has a story to share, but they have to have help other people. They have to be over the hump and helping other people with what they've experienced. And while January of this year, my life completely changed when we had Greg Bicknell on the show, who is a retired Air Force officer. I think his rank is sergeant major or chief major. I don't know. Master sergeant. Anyways, I know the ranking. I'm sorry for screwing it up, Greg. Anyways, um, he was on my show and he's telling me about his foundation camaraderie rescue mission. And I thought, okay. And there's something about this guy and there's something about talking with veterans that it just seeped into my soul. And 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 then I didn't really realize until this week that, um, my great grandfather served in the Navy, and he was also in the Canadian military and the Navy in the U.S. So I didn't even really put two and two together. I don't know how that happened, but I even have paperwork to prove it. So I was just like, this is bizarre. So this entire time from January to now, I've been focusing my life on veterans, or a good portion of my life on veterans and helping them and giving them a platform to share their story. And I thought, one of these days someone's going to pick me up and we're going to syndicate this series. I swear. I know somebody is out there. So if you're an executive producer of Discovery Channel, give me a call. I'm waiting for your call. So anyways, so the power of live streaming is sharing allowing these guys to share, these men and women to share their story. And it has been absolutely incredible. And the amount of organizations that we've come across, it's just been absolutely amazing. And so it's just been one thing that's led to another with that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that sounds really awesome because you were not ever intending to be like a live streaming business or a live streaming coach teacher person.
Nope.
So coming from finance, it's like this course changed your trajectory of how you were going to serve people in the future. It's like
Absolutely.
it sounds like. That's awesome. I don't know that people really think about courses or the work sometimes that we do as coaches as being that transformational, but this is a great example of how investing in yourself and investing in your journey, in, even if it's not in the direction you think you're going in, can
Yeah.
turn out to be really fruitful for you.
Absolutely. And well, the best part about it is, like I said, now I'm friends with Tim. And so when my dad passed away of cancer last September, he was like, it's like, I wish I could be there, but with the pandemic and all that, it wasn't easy. The Canadian government wasn't making it easy for anybody to come into Canada at the time, unless you basically gave up your firstborn and were like double vaccinated and all the works. Anyways, that's a whole other story. So he's like, well, how can I support you? Because my dad has family all over the United States and in Taiwan. And my dad's last remaining sibling is in Hong Kong. So he helped me stream our service that I had in my backyard to my aunt in Hong Kong and all my other relatives that couldn't make it. So that's the impact, guys. When you're on LinkedIn and you're socializing and you're making those friendships, it's like friendships that last forever because I know that Tim and I will be friends for life. And he helped me out with that. I did helped him out with his cancer fundraiser event. Um, and so, yeah, so Tim is a 15-year leukemia survivor. And he said, hey, I want to be man of the year this year. And I said, perfect. What do we got to do? He goes, well, be on my team. So I'm like, okay, so this was for supposed to be from March to May. So I'm like, how can we make the biggest impact in the short amount of time? Because I'm all about let's go big, go home, get in, get it out. That's what I want to do, right? And he's just like, I don't know. What are your thoughts? I said, well, Tim, why don't we do a 24-hour live stream event to raise money and awareness? And he goes, that's a great idea. So I'm like, no, are you kidding me? There's no way we could do this for 24 hours. I said, we're not Jerry Lee Lewis here, like, or Jerry
Yeah,
Lewis.
that's like it's a lot.
Right? I said, how are we going to do this? Well, lo and behold, LinkedIn is like a community and a family. So if you have a brainchild, there's lots of other people around there that are ready to wrap themselves around your brainchild, meaning that we have developed friendships and relationships with other live streamers. So we reached out and we said, hey, who would be willing to take an hour or two in this 24 hours to do this marathon or fundraiser? And so in no time at all, we had people from around the world say yes. We had Carl Sullivan out in the UK. We had Russ Johns. I believe Russ is from Oregon. He helped us out. D. Scott Smith was helping us out. Uh, Robert Murray from Alaska. I'm here in Canada. And we put together a team of amazing people. Brian Schulman and Nancy Burrows were part of that one. The Voice Your Vibe guys on LinkedIn. Definitely some powerful people out there using their platforms. So Tim was the brains behind that one. And we got it together. I don't know how he did it. We even had like, I call it the TV guide, but basically because we all streamed from our own separate platforms, right? So that everybody, it could bring awareness to them. Because that was what we wanted. We wanted global impact. We wanted all eyes on the prize, and we wanted as many people seeing this as possible. So if we would have done it on our own platforms, yeah, we would have got the people that tune into us, but we wanted this to be like a global thing, right? The newspaper interviewed him, and we just for weeks we put it out there that this was coming, this was coming. And of course, with StreamYard and that, you can only do up to 7 weeks prior to your event before you could actually broadcast it on StreamYard. But that's okay because we used our influences and that's what we did. So it was massively impactful. We had people from around the world share their stories. We were networking with people all over LinkedIn and Facebook. And we were saying, hey, if you have blood cancer or basically at any type of cancer, or if we had any musicians that wanted to come out and share their talents. So we put this together. It was absolutely magical. It's still something that I don't think that will ever really know the global impact that we had from that. And so we did that. We retired, and we still had a goal though, because not everybody paid attention the first time. They just thought, oh, this was a great idea. So we thought, well, let's do another one. Let's do a 12-hour event this time. So we did
Wait, first one was how long?
24 hours.
24 hours.
We
Okay.
went 24 hours and it was
So
insane.
how did you guys okay, wait. Let's stop before we go to the 12-hour one. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the 24-hour one. How did you decide to go, okay, this is an idea and we're going to take action on it? And then you took like massive action because you
Yes.
went and involved a whole bunch of other people who are also equally using their platforms to, create impact as well. So, like, how did you what did that look like for you guys, you and Tim, to actually step out and say, yes, we want to do this?
Well, and I'm the type of person that I just go and do it. So sometimes I just do something and I have no idea how I even do it. I just put one foot in front of the other and uh just go for it. So Tim, I have to say, since I have a full-time job, Tim was more like he's got his business at home, so he had a little bit more time than I did to approach different people. So, like I said, we just approached the live streamers that we knew, that which gave us our um people to help us with each hour. Then the LLS Society was actually, whatever you need to do, we'll do it. Like they gave us some materials that we could use. So we did like a run of show. Every hour had a run of show. So basically who we were interviewing, what we could say, and like I said, LLS was really good on giving us the wording on and different videos that we could use to make more impact Like, I don't know. I still tear up at just the word Brooklyn because Brooklyn's story was massive. She was is a twin that got cancer, and she ended up um going in remission, but then ended up the cancer came back. Oh my gosh. So that came straight from the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. So we used their materials, and we Tim has a show called Showing Up Perspectives of Cancer. So that is supporters, that is people who have cancer, people like me who've lost family members, and we just used that. Uh, and we said, okay, do you want to share your story on this 24 hours? And we searched groups on Facebook too, and said, hey, um, anybody here that has cancer or is going through the process, do you want to share your story? And believe it or not, just by sharing it daily on our social media, we got more and more people that were behind us. We had people like Ashik from Hamilton, who is an empathy doctor. He came on, and he is very good with music. He has his guitar, so he played. I was in some other kind of networking thing where I said, "Hey," one of the ladies was a comedian, so she came on. Everybody who had a talent or wanted to share their story, we just said yes, and we ran with it. We filled the hours, we filled the time slot, and Tim and I were behind the scenes mostly. Like, we kicked it off and we ended it. Um, but we were just behind the scenes, and we were just like, if a problem came up, well, we would just fix it. And when you're doing something of this magnitude and you have 24 hours to do this in, and you have like 20 live streamers, something's bound to happen. But we just, you just roll with it. And so it was just, you just, and then we just made a list, and we kept those scripts that we had, so we could do that for the next time, right?
So
Why
then we
reinvent
went
the
to the
wheel?
12-hour one. Now this so we basically said, "Okay, here's the template idea that we had. We tested it and it worked and
Right.
it was effective, and then now
Yeah.
we're going to, like, do this next version at 12 hours." So is this the one that focuses on veterans?
No.
Oh, so you've done this how many.
Okay, so that's my third one. The 12-hour was for cancer. So between March and May, we had raised over $15,000 for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society with our 12 and 24-hour event, and us, handing out letters and just saying, hey, you know, please donate. Right. So what it was funny because at the end of September, I said to Tim, he said, let's do another 24-hour fundraiser. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, seriously, are we still recovered from the last time? And I said, okay, fine. How about this? I said, I'm involved with Camaraderie Rescue Mission. We really need help. We really need to get some programs funded. I said, how about we turn around and do this for veterans? And Tim goes, I'm game. You help me with cancer, I'll help you with veterans. So I got on board with our founder, Greg Bicknell. And I said, Greg, we're doing this. I said, I don't want you to do anything. I said, I'm just letting you know that this is my contribution to help raising funds for our community. He's like, perfect. Well, anybody who knows Greg knows that Greg can't just sit still. So, but it which worked into our favor, because what he did is I said, okay, this is what my idea, because on my show, I had several hours that I probably could have just took, the chunks of video that I already had, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted it to be um, live, and I wanted it to be more interesting, right? So Greg's like, okay, give me a minute here. And he starts dialing up all these people, all these veteran organizations that say, hey, we want to give you a platform as well. But, these are the dates. It's going to be October 7th and 8th. And we're just going to give you the hour, and you can share what your organization does and how it helps veterans. Within a day and a half, I think we had enough time slots for this full 24 hours to share the story. I think I only had to use one of my videos, which was absolutely insane because I thought, how are we going to do this? But I said to them, I said, I want to be able to do it on a weekend. We did the cancer one during the week. I want to be able to do it on the weekend because I wanted more control over it, and was working a full-time job. I wanted to be more a part of it. So absolutely. So we went through with that. I'm telling you, we put in over 100 hours, Tim and I each that week leading up to everything. We were getting, um, again, we went back to our community of streamers and said, hey, do you want to help out? Pretty much everybody came back and said yes. And we got new people, and those new people now want to do something, just as crazy and insane as what we were doing, which is awesome. I love it. When I say insane, I mean really good. So, um, it was so impactful though, and I didn't really realize up until that moment just how much, um, helping veterans with, finding a way to cure their PTSD. And I knew I was from January till then, I was on this running force between cancer and veteran suicide. Like it was insane. We lose 44 veterans a day by suicide, which is not okay with me. In January it was 22, now it's 44. So the numbers have doubled in less than a year. And I knew my uncle had served, and actually I have his dog tags on today. Uh and I knew that my great-grandfather had served, but I didn't really pay much attention to my great-grandfather. That like, he died before I was born, and there was just some things that had happened, prior to him dying that I was just like, "Okay, I really didn't wanna know." But then God's like, "You there's a" and I couldn't let go of the burning desire to help these men and women, and I couldn't explain it until this week. So as I'm going through my great grandfather's paperwork, and I'm learning that yes, he served in the Canadian military, he served in the US military, and I'm like, this is insane. And just really it came together when we were doing the 24-hour fundraiser. And I got so passionate on an hour, like I didn't even realize I was going to share this, but I had shared the importance of my uncle serving. And I had another uncle that killed himself on Christmas Day. And it took me 10 years to heal from that one trauma of that. And I came to an epiphany. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm out here every day, all day, talking about these men and women who have served and have now come back and they are struggling with PTSD or suicidal ideations. And I have a heart to serve them, but why can't I have a heart to serve my own family? Right now, my great grandfather's dead, so it's not like I'd be serving him, but serving his memory. And it came to me that, wait a minute, if I can help these people, I can certainly, forgive what happened with my great grandfather. And I'm like, this is just wild. It's like one of those bizarre things. And so that was my driving catalyst for helping these men and women. And I didn't even realize it until like a month afterwards. But all I knew was it was the Canadian Thanksgiving. And what better way to honor my American um, veterans than to have the fundraiser on our Canadian Thanksgiving. So it was just wildly insane on how it all happened. And yeah, so the impact from those 24 hours was so huge that I had people calling us and saying, hey, can you do that for our organization? Can you do this for ours? Like, how did you do that? And so I was like, okay. So I looked at Tim and I'm like, we've got to continue to do this. We got to continue to bring more impact to other organizations. And that's why we decided, okay, we could do this one of two ways. We can help other organizations be there in a consulting capacity, or we can be consulting and we're just going to take the information you have, run with it, and do the 24 hours ourselves. So now we're out here serving people, helping other organizations, that want that impact. Not only is it hugely impactful for the for social media and for the world to see, though, like Greg was so lit up. Like our entire organization just got renewed and like reinvigorated, because when you're talking about suicide, sometimes it can be very, uh, um, what's the word I'm looking for? You can get down from that, right? Like
It can be really
it's
heavy.
heavy. Yes. Thank
Yeah.
you. It can be really heavy. And so, you know, it just reinvigorated the entire organization again to say, hey, you know, let's do this. Let's push through. Now that it's Veterans Day, let's just really honor these men and women. And what better way to honor them than to continue this fundraiser and say, listen, because we still have a long ways to go. Our budget this year was for $300,000, and like right now we're only at 1130. So we have a long ways to go. To Tim, there's Tim. We have a long ways to go. So in order, these men and women gave up their lives for us. So why don't we give them their life back and help them end their traumas in a way of not with suicide, and helping them. Like, we have doctors at our fingertips that can help them within, it's called trip protocol. Within one session, it can eliminate their traumas. But of course, we don't charge the veteran, but still have to pay the doctor, right? And so that's what some of these programs are for, like horse therapy, and just really helping our veterans with their PTSD. So in order for that to be funded, we need your help, and we need it today. So if anybody is out there, like I said, any dollar counts. Go to tinyurl.com/hope for vets. And that the four is FOR vets. So tinyurl.com hope for vets, and donate today, please. We would greatly appreciate any help.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that sounds like a good organization. I've worked with a lot of organizations that have worked with veterans on their mental health issues or have served the community by providing, services for crisis intervention or mental health treatment and long-term treatment and PTSD. And so I've, been really cognizant of the mental health challenges that veterans face and how that looks personally because my family has experienced that trauma as well. And so I've had to help, a veteran navigate the mental health system, which is not easy. I
Yes.
was I like have been in the mental health field for a really long time at that point and was like, okay, if I as a person who knows the content cannot actually find help for someone or if you can't help people get to the support they need, then we're really leaving people to just go untreated. And so you
Exactly.
really do need these organizations that provide these services, but it's not easy because a lot of the wait lists are very long for veterans services, particularly if they're paid for mental health services or health services paid by the VA.
Yeah.
So it's challenging when you're trying as a family member to help someone in crisis navigate this. And I've experienced it firsthand. And I know that, with everything that comes with it, even if you have connections or you have supports or you have all these things, the person still has to want to get the care and has to feel open to, the treatment. And you can't force anyone into treatment and expect it to be effective. And so, you still have to connect and support people through their mental health journey if that's part of your role as a family or friend. And if you are not in that role, what you can do is support organization. And so what Dorothy was just saying, and I'll put up the link in it's tiny URL. Say it again.
tinyurl.com / hope for vets.
So yeah, there's a lot of things that we can be doing as people. And I think, oops, it just went away. Um, we just need to do more. We need more people doing what they can so that, like exactly like you're saying, you're using your platform of live streaming to do what you can to give voice to these issues that people are working on them. But if we amplify, we could really be supporting their work. And that's one of the
Mhm.
things I try to explain to people is social entrepreneurship is partially about you doing the work, but you don't always have to be the one doing the work. You could just support the impact. So one of the things you do really well is support the impact.
Yes. Well, and the thing of it is, like, awareness too is a large part of it, because I can't imagine that if people knew just what the numbers were, that they wouldn't try and help,
Yeah.
right? Like, I
Yeah.
can't believe that, number one, the number in veteran suicides has doubled, And number two, so it only leads me to the fact that people don't know about it. Because if you knew about it and didn't want to do anything about it, that's blows my mind, really. you know, and help in any capacity, whether that's donating or whether that's, researching different organizations to help them get that help. You're right. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So if a veteran doesn't want that help, that's one thing. But if you didn't propose the idea to them to begin with because they didn't know about it, that's a whole other thing. And that's what we're doing. We're bringing the information to you, hoping you'll drink, right? And that's the living water. There we go. I just got that visualization, the living water. We're bringing you to the living water. Now you need to drink it.
So, Dorothy, I think we've been talking about stuff related to bed, stuff related to cancer, all of these things, but these are not the only issues that can use this vehicle. And what I heard you say in all of the wonderful things you were sharing was there is a way that other nonprofits and other people can use the same vehicle for different issues, other social issues. But even if you did have organizations that are focused on vets, because we're talking about vets on Veterans Day, any organization can choose to do this. But what if people don't have access to all these wonderful live influencers that you and Tim know? So, I mean, one option is they can hire you all
Yes,
to connect them
that's right.
and to
You
support
can hire
for
us
them.
to connect.
You can hire them to connect and their network,
Right.
but then you also are showing people how to do it themselves as well, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Can you talk a
Yeah.
little bit more about that? What that looks for some folks?
Sure. So basically, we've got to assess what people's needs are because, first of all, if we can't help you, there's no sense taking your money because we don't believe in that, right? We want it to be a win-win situation for everybody because if I can't make you successful, then I don't make me successful. So we come in, we assess what the organization needs, and so then from there, what we could do is we could see who if you're in business, there's 9 times out of 10 that you've done some kind of networking. So who have you networked with? And start utilizing who you have, like just bringing it out to the forefront. Going over your information, giving you the ideas that you have. We'll leave you with the templates that we've used, and we can gear it towards your company. We'll leave you with all that information before we leave you in good hands to do that. Plus, we will going up to leading up to your event, we will even be there with you, like every step of the way. If you have questions, we can definitely do that. But it's assessing your needs, basically using what you already have, and then helping you gain access to what you don't have. Because it depends on there. Thanks, Tim.
Tim is here with us for the infomercial part, and I love it. I'm like, Tim, yes, here you go. This is how y'all sell on live stream. Follow Tim's lead.
That's right.
Get in the comments with the correct information.
I could not do this without Tim for sure. And that's why he's my partner in the live streaming event. So yes, all the information, if you go to that tiny URL, 24-hour live streaming definitely is all the information about the consulting part of it, or, us just taking what you have and us running with it. But we're not going to leave you hanging. We will definitely, is a lot of people don't know what they don't know. And a lot of people don't know that there's different groups within different social media platforms that you can tap into. And that's what we've been doing over the last year, building into those groups. And so if we can do it, you can do it. Or if you don't have the time, because I know a lot of people are busy out there, you could just hire us to do it and we'll tap into it for you.
So you could
Absolutely.
use your own network that you've already been working with. You don't have to go pay for influencers to join you. And
Right.
you could support people in establishing their own organizational goals to
Right.
fundraise, with this vehicle. So I love this because you're offering, what I tell people is there's at least 6 fundraising streams that every nonprofit needs. And now you're offering a 7th that I think very few nonprofits have ever even used, which is
Or don't know about. And that's what
or don't even never even knew it was possible, right? Which is why
Right.
it was like when I met you, it's like we really need to talk about this on my podcast because I'd like to add this as like an official 7th funding stream that you could access is how do you do your own Jerry Lewis style telethon? And I mean, using today's networking strategies, LinkedIn and in person networking, using today's technology of live streaming and the platforms that we build social media content for anyway, right? Like already leveraging your platforms. And then using what's easy to access now by Zoom as support from an expert. So it almost is like, yeah, if you're not doing this and you're a nonprofit, like, come on.
Right? From Wendy's lips to God's ears, you heard it. If you're not doing it, why aren't you? Hello.
Yeah, and, and I can understand how people may not have the fortitude for even a 20 to stay up 24 hours, right? Like when they hear the idea of 24 hours, that might seem daunting to people that you would be doing any one consistent thing online for 24 hours. There's a lot of us don't host, 24-hour conversations or 24-hour lives or 24-hour rooms. Like some people do. People I know people who do, but not everybody is built that way. I'm not built that way, to be honest. So how do you navigate that?
Well, and my friend, that's why you have a team because we couldn't do it without a team of people, right? And so, and it's funny because I am the overachiever I was work work until you die type mentality. And it's funny because just in the last year I've like, wait a minute. I need a team to help me execute everything that I want in life, right? And I didn't even realize it's funny how God works because sometimes like I don't even realize what I do. I just do it. And then afterwards I'm like, oh, that was brilliant. You know, brilliant deduction, Watson. And so, but yeah, you can't do it without a team. So if you're an organization of one, well, you definitely need us. If you're an to bring that team together, right? And believe it or not, if you think you're only an organization of one, you're sadly mistaken because I know you have friends in your network. I know you have people that you collaborate with. And if you don't, well, then this is your opportunity to start doing that, right? It's your opportunity to start building those relationships and really using LinkedIn for what it's for. And LinkedIn is not just LinkedIn. I always say is a family. We have built a nice family and a connection around us, so that if one of us are in trouble, somebody will be there to help us. So if you're not using LinkedIn to that capacity, you really start need to using it. It's not just a let's find a job search engine. It
That's what
is
I
finding.
used to use it for.
Yeah,
I
it is.
I have learned, and I am telling others, right? Like I have literally the person I was talking to before you, I said, go over to my LinkedIn profile and feel free to take inspiration from anything that I've done because I've just done what other people have done. And I haven't even executed it completely. Like I was just like, let's make sure this doesn't look awful. And I'm happy with it. So I'm gonna stick with it. I'm sure there's more I could do, guys. But LinkedIn is like at first I thought, okay, this is a place to repurpose content and put content. And then I was like, oh no, that's not what goes on here at all. What goes on here is like people actually make content for LinkedIn. Like this is an actual thing. And it's not like and people have even said before, they're like, why am I seeing the same thing here as my Instagram? And I'm like, but there's like 2,000 other people here that are not on my Instagram. And I want to show everybody the same thing today. I've had to like justify not creating content just for LinkedIn.
Well, and the best part about streaming is you can stream it from more than one platform. So when I go live for my shows, I go live on my LinkedIn, my Facebook, and my YouTube channels. And I have it set up in Twitter, so it's so great because why would you want to I work smarter, not harder. Like honestly, and everything that I do, I will work smarter, not harder. So if I can get it done more impact with less time, that's what I'm all about. Everybody has 24 hours in a day. However, 9 of those hours are for me at my day job. And and not to mention the other stuff that I do, right? And so like you said, you got to work smarter in order to do that. And streaming is just that key, is that tool to get you multiple platforms, multiple places at the same time with more impact.
Yeah,
Sorry.
absolutely. Yeah, we're live on LinkedIn and Facebook today, but usually I'm on at least YouTube and Instagram if I can get my phone up at the same time. But it doesn't work when you have a guest and you're on one platform and then you're trying to get on Instagram. I'm like, no. But StreamYard is about to do Instagram integration, so I'm gonna see how that goes. I don't know if I trust it yet. I haven't tried it.
I will admit I don't know really a whole lot about Instagram. I started building my my platform on Facebook, and then I had this gentle nudge that said get over on LinkedIn, and since I've been on LinkedIn, that's where the families come. So
Yeah,
yeah.
LinkedIn is a really great place. I mean, I'd had a network, right, for years on LinkedIn that was about 1,500 people or so, that are people I've met in real life, most of them, like at conferences, on airplanes, like people my friend group, my college friend group, like those are the folks who were on my LinkedIn up until recently. And then eventually, once I started my business and I started using it for business, I went, oh, there's really fun people on here. Like someone who was on the live earlier, Ladoris is one of my LinkedIn fam that I go and, I'm like, what's Ladoris got posted on today? And what tips is she giving and what's going on? And then she's on my live. And that's kind of how it goes is people are very reciprocal. But I also find that there's a lot of folks that I've just hopped on a Zoom call and been like, hey, what do you do? What do you do? How can we work together? Okay, cool. And then you end up with Dorothy on your live. So
That's right.
it's how it works. So I know when people ask me like, is LinkedIn effective or what has it done for you? And I'm like, well, it's helped me grow even as a person to be able to learn, these other skills from other people or have these other people come on and share with my audience, this is something you never thought of. Why don't you try it? You know,
Absolutely.
what has
And
hurt?
one other thing to that point. Okay, so and this is how. Okay, so Tim isn't my only friend that I made this year. So and it's funny how this all works. So last year, like it was last year, I was just searching for to be on people's podcasts. So this woman Karen who had something about a stone podcast. That's not the name of it, but it had stone in it. I can't remember because I was never on the podcast. She wanted me to come on. Long story short, she introduced me to Jen. Jen introduced me to 6 other amazing women whom I've now formed such a sisterhood. Every Saturday morning, we get together and we are like a mastermind, and we do not let each other give up on each other's dreams to the point where one of those 7 are now my other business partner. And we are like making the largest production company in the world. But that's a side note. Anyways, getting back to that, if without me networking on LinkedIn, finding this podcast that I was never on, which led to me to one of my best friends, which led me to a business partner, like I don't know, like that, it's just the power of LinkedIn.
It's the power of the universe sending you those little, like, nuggets, and it's like,
Yeah.
"Go follow the breadcrumbs, and if you follow the breadcrumbs, you'll find gold." I don't know if you've ever read The Alchemist, but this is part of The Alchemist stories, like, Paulo Coelho book. It's like, yeah, the universe is conspiring to actually help you, like,
Yeah.
and if you follow the threads of this fabric, you'll end up eventually getting to answers and people and connections, and yeah, things don't always pan out the way, you think the journey is gonna pan out, but the surprises along the way are equally exciting, and you get to find this wonderful group of people on LinkedIn, so I think that's fantastic. I found my tribe on Clubhouse. The Clubhouse app for me has been like, everybody knows this. I've been obsessed with it since, like, I got on about 2 years ago almost, and
Yeah.
I have made multiple families on that app, and they have come with me over to LinkedIn, and they come with me to Instagram and, all over the places. So a lot of my audience is actually made out of people that I've met on social audio, and so it's been really interesting, to take that over to LinkedIn. So one of the things I do on LinkedIn is try to use the audio part. Have you used, LinkedIn Audio yet?
Okay, so funny. I did not, and I think when I went on to yours, when was it? A couple weeks ago. That's how I met you. Was over there because Barry said, "Hey, go on to this woman's audio," and I'm like,
I
"Okay,
love that this woman
this woman," and I'm like, "Okay." I think he said Wendy, but I'm like, I just follow when people send me stuff. If I feel led that that's where I'm supposed to be, I'll just click on it. And so I listened to this. I think I got the tail end of it, and I'm like, man, I want to know more about this. But then you had said, hey, if you want to be on my podcast, let me know. And here it is. So I'm like, well, yes, hello.
Yes.
And that's how the connection was formed, right?
Oh,
And
we gotta get you on the audio, girl, because you'd be perfect on audio.
well, then I wouldn't have to worry about hair and make. Well, I don't wear
No,
much
you
makeup.
can come. You don't even have. You could be in your pajamas, no, but no earrings, like the whole thing. It's great. And as much as I love live, I mean, I'm get dressed because I'm gonna be going somewhere anyway later anyway. So I was like, live plus happy hour sounds like a good reason to get dressed. But
Perfect.
I would otherwise on the audio be in my pajamas with a messy bun, like zero makeup and zero earrings. Like this would be really real. Like I don't always. You got a thumbs up on that. Yeah, like audios are great for this type of living where you're like yoga pants is my life right now. So okay, so let's get back on track with the podcast because I think this is great. A couple of things I wanted to recap for folks from what you said, 'cause I know we gave a lot of information. So if you're joining us for Veterans Day, first of all, thank you for your service. If you serve, if you have family members, honor to your family members. If you have friends who served, please make sure you reach out and support them and tell them how much you appreciate their service. And we are here talking with Dorothy O'Dell, who's coming to us live from Canada and sharing with us her experience about how do you use this vehicle of live streaming in order to do social good. Part of that is raising funds and raising awareness. And so she's been able to do 24 hours, 12 hours, different events with different organizations. And what she's offering to the world now is that expertise and that experience and the knowledge and the templates and all the things that you might need in order to use this vehicle to raise funds. So I wanted to do that quick recap because I want to give you one last question. And that's how with all of the things you described to us today, you've got like multiple roles. And a lot of my social entrepreneurs are parents, they're business owners, they might have a 9 to 5. Some of them are running nonprofits and have a 9 to 5. So our audience has a lot of roles too. How do you take care of yourself so that you can keep showing up to serve other people? Like, how does Dorothy pay attention to Dorothy and Dorothy's well-being in order to
That
support other people?
that is a great question, and I've had to learn balance. I've had to go back. It's funny because I wrote my second book that's just out, the Overcomer Playbook, and in that is giving you the roadmap you need to take care of yourself, basically. Because I'm the type of person that could potentially work around the clock if I wanted to. However, I'm very intentional about taking that time. I find something that I like to do. I am not the type of person. I know a lot of women say, "Oh, just run me a bubble bath." I am not the bubble bath type lady. Give me a book, give me a great romance novel, and leave me alone for a couple hours is the best thing you could do for me. Uh, and oh wait, and my husband cook dinner. That would be even better. That would be like the best day ever. But I also like I make sure I schedule my massages monthly. I have one scheduled every month. I Sundays is family time 100%. It would have to be something like somebody would be having to be dying in order for me to work on a Sunday, in order for me to do that. Sundays are family time, me time, and Friday at 5, that's it. Friday at 5, I am done for all Friday night. Friday night's my husband and I, except for tonight, it's girls' night. I'm headed for the States after work, to
I love it.
see
This
my
sounds so
friends.
weird. I'm headed for the States. And I'm like, oh, that's me. I'm in the
Yes,
States.
yes.
Although you're not coming all the way to Maryland, I'm sure.
No, no. I live in a border city, which is amazing, so I can just slip over and go to Detroit and have fun over there. So my business partner from Indiana is going to be in Detroit, so I'm going to go see her tonight, have some fun with the ladies. And Saturday by noon, I work in the morning. By noon, that's it. And every other weekend, we have my stepson, so we make sure that we do things with him. Just scheduling that time is very important. And even sometimes that could be kind of flexible, but I always make sure that I have that time because Monday through Thursday I'm like gangbusters busy, but Friday at 5 we slow down.
I love the boundaries too, like the hard boundaries of like, this is built into my schedule. And that's something that I work with my clients on. How do you build the wellness time into your routine? That way you don't skip it. You know it's there. People expect it. it's routine enough for everybody around you that they can respect that boundary. And it sounds like you've also promised some attention to some key folks in your life during that time. So they probably appreciate that that boundary is respected as well, because that means that they're getting their time with you.
Right. And tonight, my husband's lucky because he's got the night to himself.
And he is like, great, I get to do whatever I want for once.
Well, his
Amazing.
employer gives them Remembrance Day off. Well, it's Remembrance Day here in Canada,
Yeah,
Veterans
yeah,
Day
yeah.
for you guys. So he gets it off. I have to work. So he's got the whole day to himself, and now he's gonna have the night to himself. So that's his downtime, and I'm gonna
Look
go
at
have
him.
fun with the girls. That's
And
my
you get to
night.
go hang out in Detroit.
That's right.
Get into some trouble. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you for being here with us. It's been so great to chat with you. I mean, I know I enjoyed it chatting with you last time I talked to you on Zoom as well, but I will enjoy every time I chat with you. And I know I'll
Definitely.
be on your show as well, so it'll be a good time to have more laughs and more joy. And thank you
Absolutely.
to everybody who joined us, Tim, Ladoris, anyone else who is joining us on LinkedIn or Facebook. We really appreciate it. I wanted to give a quick shout out to something I am doing, which is next week, we're going to be talking about how do you turn your ideas into action. And you heard me ask a couple questions today of our guest, Dorothy. How did she turn her big idea to live stream into the action of fundraising, which is a really cool example of this? So if you are interested in learning how you can take your big ideas and turn them into action, next week I have a 5-day workshop that's coming up, and we're going to be talking exactly about that. So please join me. You can reach out on any of my profiles. You'll see the link. It's listed everywhere. I've tried to be good about putting it everywhere. We'll see how good I've been. But if anybody wants to get into it and you haven't found it somewhere on my profiles, you can always send me a DM. So thank you, everyone who has been here live. Anybody who's listening to the podcast version of this, we really appreciate it. It may not be Veterans Day when you hear this, because this is part of season 2 of the Social Impact Level Up podcast. We are talking this season about people who make an impact and stories about those people. So you've heard today from Dorothy O'Dell. And I'm going to go back to you really quickly, Dorothy. What else do you want to say to our audience just before we end?
Yes, I just want to reiterate what you said. Self-care is important. That is definitely something that we all have to do. As a recovering workaholic, I can say that it's important. So definitely get your me time in, take time for you, and definitely, I'm going to put one last shameless plug in for our veterans.
Yeah.
They died for us. Let's give them life back by, helping them with their mental struggles. Go to the tinyurl.com/hope for vets to donate today so that our programs can help our veterans with their PTSD, their suicidal ideations, and just get them the help that they need, whether that's being out in the middle of Key West on our ghost ship experiences with Captain Perry and Captain Steve, or whether that's, doing the horse therapy, or whether that's talking to one of our amazing doctors and getting, going through the trip protocol, whatever it is that suits their needs. But we need help with that funding. So if you could go to tinyurl.com/hope for vets, that would be great, because we never charge a veteran for our services, but it has to come from somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. And we want to make sure that anyone who can support veterans organizations, find one for you that matches your purpose, your passion, whatever it is. If it's not this one, find another one. But if you want to do something today, because today is Veterans Day, it is a great day for you to go out and just donate and give $20, $40, $5, whatever you can. But just to be able to support the needs of our veterans. So thanks, Dorothy, for that last message. I really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone who's been here. And we will be back soon with another episode of the Social Impact Level Up Live and our podcast. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Social Impact Level Up podcast. It's been awesome to interview today's guest, and I hope that you leave inspired to take action. If you're looking for any of the information we spoke about, it's probably down in the show notes. Make sure that you're checking them out and you're clicking on any of the links that seem exciting to you. If you are looking for a coach or a consultant to help you with your social impact or your sustainability, reach out to me via my website, hop on my email list, or jump into one of my programs. All of the links are below. So excited to have you as part of the collective. Make sure that you come back and join us for another episode next week.